Energy, thank you for raising the issue of energy manufacturing. It's a major part of our economy. And while Washington likes to sort of play the blame game on U.S. energy companies, the truth of the matter is they're a huge part of the economy. Most of the work is done by independents, you know, smaller companies that have a big impact on our economy. There is an industry, manufacturing industry, where their workers are aging out. There's a great demand, continued demand, not just in the oil shale discoveries, but in the traditional oil and natural gas, where the broad range of skills that are needed, not just the oil rig worker you're thinking about, but from R&D to technical skills, geophysical analysts, all that, it really is remarkable. And we would miss a bet if we don't apply some job training resources to moving people into that field, which again is very high paying. I wanted to ask each of you, right now, I'm just not convinced we're doing the job training the way we ought to. The number of programs we've got, the eligibility requirements, the bureaucracy of it, the fact I don't think it's customer driven like it ought to be is a concern. I'm convinced we can do better. I'd like to ask each of you, we had 8.5 million people seek job training services last year in America. About half of them got jobs over the next, well, will get jobs over the next 2 years. What's the one change we need to make in Washington to make those programs more successful? I'll start with you, Mr. Painter. What's the one change you would make?
Thank you, Congressman. We would go back and say that local business-led workforce investment boards who are held responsible for strategically planning for the federal and state investments in workforce, and who are afforded the opportunity to have input into the planning for other funding and have the results come back to the boards, so that we can look at where the alignment and the coordination of these resources are happening for the best interest of job seekers and businesses in our regions.
Can I tell you at the local level, having served on one of those boards, the feeling is just the opposite. You are living in deathly fear of not being within the boxes that are required from Washington. And you know, if we can increase the amount, you know, that's generated from the local level and the feeling that they have that ownership, I think you're right. I think that could be helpful. Mr. Weatherington?
Yes, I would say standardized, industry-recognized, industry-developed job skills credentialing would be very critical, so that not only do you get the customer's voice in what's needed, but then as a manufacturer, when I'm out in the job place looking to hire, I've got a credentialing that helps me to know that this guy isn't just a welder, he's the welder I need for this job.
Thank you. Thank you. Great idea.
I would block grant the funds and give them to individual states. We in Washington cannot tell what each of the 50 states needs. They need to, they all have different needs. They should be able to set up their own systems at the state, or if they feel at the local level, and figure out how to make the best use of the funds.
Thank you.
I would also target grants to the states to better integrate their education systems at the 2-year, 4-year level, their workforce development, with their economic development. There are a set of changes that can be made in WIA, simplifying the performance measures, emphasizing these industry credentials more. I don't think it can be done without resources. Frankly, I think the resources right now are too low.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being employer-driven, locally driven job training programs, where do we rate right now, would you guess? On 10 being what we ought to be doing? What's that? What we have today.
2 or 3.
Thank you. Yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Brady. Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much. When